Who's more likely to make it to the finals next year, the Houston Rockets or the Boston Celtics? How about that for a poll question, McLovin? Final hour. What are the results from the first 2 hours?
So the first question is, are you more excited to see the Cavs and the Warriors for the fourth time or less excited? 68% are less excited, as you predicted.
Yeah.
But I don't get it, because people don't really want to see the Celtics Rockets. They're just tired of the Cavs Warriors.
But are you mad because the rest of the NBA couldn't prevent this? Like, that's who you should be mad at. Or you're disappointed or angry. Not Cleveland and Golden State did what they were supposed to do. Now all of a sudden we got to watch these guys. If you said that's the consolation prize somehow, that this is what I'm going to end up with, I'll sign up for that. Golden State against Cleveland. Now, is Boston going to give Golden State a better series? Maybe. But they're not there. They didn't get past LeBron James. But to say, boy, it'd be nice to have Boston and Houston in there just because, well, we haven't seen them. Well, that's not the way it works. You know, you're supposed to see the two best teams, and it's a 7-game series. It's not one, and you get a surprise. You know, when Butler goes to the championship game, we liked it because it was, hey, Butler's in the championship game. Now, it wasn't a good championship game. One of the games they went there. You know, it's a cute story, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, let's get a better team in here. Let's get some. Where's North Carolina or Duke in here? Yeah, Paul.
I asked a couple odds guys. They said right now it's about 11 or 12 to 1, the Cavs' chances against the Golden State Warriors. If the Boston had made it, they tried to kind of put the stats together. They think they'd be 13 to 1. So the Cavs are just a hair better of a chance to win the finals against the Warriors than the Boston. I haven't checked on Houston yet.
Just because of LeBron James. I think Cleveland is a 12-point underdog.
It's the biggest line for a game of the finals since the 70s. Let me check that. I think it's 91. Was the biggest line since 91 for a single game, 12 points.
Wow. And, granted, it's at Golden State. If this was in Cleveland, what would Golden State be favored if this was in Cleveland? Can you check with the odds makers there? Because I'm going to guess that Golden State would be favored by probably six points. But 12-point underdog on the road for LeBron James game 1. Yeah, McLevin.
I did read a lot of stories. The ratings have been crazy and especially if LeBron is playing. ESPN's shattering all their own records for cable playoff games. Well, so there obviously is a demand to see LeBron.
But you also had Boston in there. You get bigger market teams, and we haven't had that. Whereas Boston wasn't good or Philadelphia wasn't good. The Lakers weren't good. New York's not been good. When you get the big cities involved in it, then you get bigger numbers here.
I think LeBron probably gets casual fans, too. There's a guy in the back who's not a sports fan. He's like, I watched to see what LeBron was going to do.
And you should. It's an incredible run that you're seeing here.
Not to bring up the debate, but does it remind you of the 90s Jordan finals and as far as like how everybody wanted to watch them? And
nobody got tired of seeing the Bulls and Michael Jordan. I don't remember any of that, television fatigue where it's like, oh, God, we got to watch Jordan again. There was this fascination of what you were seeing. It's completely different because we had not seen this before. We've seen this before in, varying shapes and sizes. Kobe and Shaq was fascinating to watch. Dwayne Wade's run was fascinating. Certainly with what Jordan did. Now you have LeBron, but we didn't have anything that was similar to this with LeBron. You had Larry and Magic who had great teams. This was an individual who was standing out in a team sport, and that was something that was unique. Larry and Magic stood out, but they also had great teams, and you thought about those teams as well. It was Boston versus the Lakers. This is LeBron against Golden State. That's how far we've come. It wasn't even with Michael. It was the Bulls because there was Phil, there was Dennis, there was Scotty. You put in Kukoc in there, and this was fun to watch. But it felt like you were watching something, and if you didn't see it, then you were gonna miss out on something special. You don't get that feeling now with watching Golden State and or Cleveland. And trust me, you're going to feel like you missed out if you don't appreciate it now. Because you're going to look back and go, golly, they were really good. I made this mistake when I rooted for John McEnroe. John McEnroe would play Bjorn Borg at Wimbledon. And whenever he played, I hated Borg for no other reason than he would beat John McEnroe. And I never appreciated Bjorn Borg. And Bjorn Borg was he was so much better at tennis than John McEnroe. I mean, the fluidity. Like, you want to see an athlete? I mean, Bjorn Borg, Arthur Ashe had this fluidity to them. They flow. It almost felt like Bjorn Borg didn't even touch the ground. But he was a rock star, man. He looked great. He'd start the beard. When Wimbledon started, he'd start the growth. And then, of course, he'd get to the finals and he'd have a full beard. But he had the headband. He retired at 26. Amazing. But I rooted against Borg. I was rooting so hard for McEnroe that I didn't appreciate Bjorn Borg. And I just missed out on it. And I remember saying that to McEnroe, and he goes, I appreciate that, but man, how could you not appreciate Borg? And I said, because I was rooting for you to win. And people are going to root against LeBron James. And you might be rooting against Steph Curry in Golden State. You don't want to see that either. It's kind of an interesting approach to it. You're not sure who to root for. You may not want to see the series, but are you rooting for or are you rooting against? I almost get the feeling that people want to see LeBron lose and see him lose in 4. Or in painstaking fashion in Game 7. Yeah, see.
I feel like you could make that same case for the Warriors, though.
Yeah, I just think there are people who are going to look at this and go, who do I want to lose worse? And we're in a worse fashion.
Right.
Yeah, LeBron gets swept or Golden State loses on their home floor. Yeah, Fritzy.
Because you got Draymond Green, that including Charles Barkley, rubs people the wrong way. Curry with his shimmying, and they're playing with the mouthpiece and everything. Just as easy to root for against the Warriors, and they've already won more than enough recently.
But isn't there enough positive that overshadows the negative? Like, oh, God forbid Steph Curry shimmies. Oh, he doesn't keep his mouthpiece in. Like, really? He just hit 5 threes and that's not exciting? He's annoying. No, but this is the world we're in now because of all these silly hot takes. It's let me tell you what you don't do or the things that bother me.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.